When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs. And as always, week after week, we have some of the most amazing guests on here. And every single one of those guests are telling you about the experiences they've had, as well as instructions for today on what you can do in your life to design your life the way you want that life to go versus just allowing your life to happen by default. No one wants to live by default. It really is about how you design your life, who you put along your path that's going to be there to guide you through that process as well. And Jana Bartlett Alonso is here today. And I'm excited to jump into integrative healing for business. If you're not sure what that is, you've got to stick around so you can really understand more about that. But before we get to Jana, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's show, Peaceful Living. Why do we allow stress to compound in our lives, affecting our sleep and our daily rituals? The truth is, we all live with stress, but imagine what it would feel like not to suffer from stress. Are you ready to feel better, sleep better, and change your overall relationship with tension? Well, Peaceful Living can help you bring more peaceful moments into your day. Peaceful Living offers simple tools, live streams, and on-demand classes, and a customized self-care success plan. Imagine if you had simple ways to slow down and restore your energy without taking big chunks of time away from your schedule. We know it's possible, and we're here to help. And the founder, Roberta Hughes, will be your guide each step of the way. So visit Peaceful Living at the link below and begin your journey with a free membership. If you use the code LEAP, you receive your first month for free. Thank you so much, Roberta Hughes and Peaceful Living, for being the sponsor of today's show. Okay, let's jump in to Jana. So Jana Alonso is a renowned integrative healer and business growth strategist with a deep commitment to helping individuals achieve high levels of wealth, joy, love, impact, and growth. And as the founder of the School of Integrative Healing, Jana has developed a powerful system of healing that combines multiple modalities and dimensions to provide transformative experiences for her client. Jana went from making $400 a month to making her first million using a combination of the practical strategies she teaches, but more than anything, the inner work. Jana, we all want to know the inner work. What is the inner work? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I know we hear that so often. I'm doing the work, right? What is the work? What is the work? So for me, when I speak about doing the work or earning your spiritual miles, I like to say, it's really about the awareness that when we come into, and I'm going to go a little bit woo, okay? I'm going to go straight woo, but I'm going to bring it back to business.
That's fine.
The belief system that I've got is that when we come to planet Earth, it's because we are here to work on our patterns, on our wounds. We all bring things from our family, from our lifetime. And really the work is taking responsibility for everything in your life and cleaning up everything that needs to be cleaned up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about, I want to hit this financial milestone. It's like, I want to hit this financial milestone and I'm aware, for example, all of this stuff is happening in my leadership. Doing the work would be cleaning up, right? What's not working in your leadership. And that actually leads to the financial milestone, So I do things a little bit backwards. I'm big into strategy. We do need strategy for business, but more so than anything, we need 100% responsibility for our patterns, right? Because if we don't clean it up, it's going to keep showing up in your business again and again.
And
again,
Yeah, I feel like, there are a lot of women that will admit to me that they don't feel worthy to make a certain amount of money. And underneath those layers, that inner work that you talked about, that's holding them back. Anything that happened to us as a child, I'm actually going through a lot of healing right now and trauma discovery. And I've been working on this now for a few months. And it's like, now I know why I act a certain way or do a certain thing based on a trauma that I had. And I don't think we realize how much we allow other people's words to affect us to the point where it causes damage to our self-worth. And how are you able to hit financial milestones and really be at the best leadership that you could be if you're walking around damaged with all of this weight that we carry? I'm sure you've got some examples of clients that you've worked with and that you've helped through. Do you have any examples of those, of some clients that you've worked through that have started doing that inner work and discovered that for themselves?
I mean, so many. And what I love about this is it's so individual because we've all got different patterns. The first thing that I want to say is I don't believe in that we're damaged. I don't believe that we're broken. I do believe that we have heaviness that we can clean up, but I believe that we are all intrinsically perfect, and worthy as we are without external achievements. But this is a really good example. Do you know something that I work on a lot with my clients? It's those clients that are externally successful. So they've actually hit the milestones, right? And then money drops or clients drop and their whole self-worth goes out of the window and they're on this roller coaster, right? That's one of the big patterns that I work with, with a lot of people, because a lot of people attach their self-worth to my relationship is doing well, or my bank balance has got this number, or I live in this house, right? And so when we're really like embodied and, strong within ourselves, we like ourselves no matter what, right? No matter whether you're in a relationship or in a breakup, no matter whether you're in a business win or, in one of those phases in business where you're just learning a lot of things, right? And there might not be that many external results. So that's one pattern. In leadership, another pattern that I work with clients is, especially in women, it's like this fawning. Do you know what fawning means? It's another way. You don't. It's so with the nervous system, you've got different stress responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is the people pleaser stress response. So people pleasing can really impact business growth. From, I don't want to sell too much because what are people going to think of me? Why does it matter what people think of you? Like at the end of the month, do you care about how much you've made or what, someone on Instagram said, right? That's a really big one. Or it could be, someone breaks a contract and you've got to have a challenging conversation. You've got to be able to hold that spine, right? And you can't be going into people pleaser. So people pleasing is a really big pattern that we look at within my school and within my client base. And the thing is, why do we people please? We people please because there is a childhood experience where you found that having a strong opinion or, being confrontational or even having anger as an emotion meant that you were not safe. Or you had parents that were emotionally volatile, so you created all of your self-image around controlling their emotions. That was me, my dad got sick when I was 15 and my mum got cancer when I was 19 until she passed away when I was 26. I was a primary caregiver for a big, big chunk of my life. So my whole identity was Hannah who serves. I didn't know that I was an individual external to that. So when I went into business, what did I attract? People that wanted me to caretake, right?
Yeah.
And what did I really struggle with? Holding a spine, holding contracts, and all of these things. And that's been such a big piece of work for myself as well. And so that's why I'm so grateful for the inner work in business, because when I recognize it, I can do something about it, which means I know I don't have to live with that pattern for a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure many women that are listening today, we have both men and women that listen to this show. I'm sure them listening today, they're saying, yeah, that's my pattern. Yep, I totally relate with that. If someone's relating with that pattern, what's the first step? What do they do? How do they recognize, okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, I have been a people pleaser. I feel like that's me in my life. What is the first step that I take to start unraveling some of these traumas and experiences that have happened in my life that I feel I need to change? And can they permanently be changed?
Yes, of course. I mean, of course, everything can be absolutely changed. I had an eating disorder when I grew up. Got quite a long story. And the doctors would always say to me, and people around me, oh, you can never heal from an eating disorder. Watch me. And I have done, you know? And so I think if I can heal an eating disorder completely in the fact that there is no remnants of that in me and my system, then I can heal some people pleasing. So just a little note on that. But okay, so the first step we have to understand is taking full responsibility. So what we do unconsciously in our life is we blame. The second that you're in blame, you've given your power to someone else, right? So let's say you've got a client and they're being challenging. If you're focusing your mental energy on why are they doing that instead of why am I a match to this, you've lost the game. Okay. So first step is like, everything in my life is my responsibility. Everything in my life I've been given because there is something that I have to learn and gain from this. If it's my responsibility to change. Therefore, I must invest either time or money in doing the work to get there. That's the first basis, right? On anything that you want to change. Now, how you want to do it, there is a plethora of modalities. There is not one path. I could answer your question being like, come do my course. You can do that, but also, I'm going to tell the truth, hypnosis, IQM, integrative quantum medicine. Like there's so many modalities that exist right now that if you do a little bit of research and you pick one that you're called to, right? Start there. Just start there. Because the human body is incredible. The human body can heal from, like, we're so resilient. We're so resilient. Sometimes people don't realize what we as humans can cope with, heal from. And I'll tell you something about trauma, right? Trauma feels like this big, horrible, bad thing. But people that have trauma, which is everyone, and then choose to heal from it, the wisdom that you get from healing your trauma, right, is irrefutable. It is some of the biggest gifts that you'll get in your lifetime. So my second invitation is, can you get excited about the fact that something's happened in your life that showed you that there's something to heal? Can you get really excited? Because imagine if your life is good now, right? Imagine how good your life can get if you clean up each thing as and when they happen. There's a man called David on Instagram, and he teaches on the Kabbalah. And there's this little tool in the Kabbalah, which I just adore. So every time something that you don't like happens in your life, instead of going into a frenzy, which we do, a stress response, you pause and you say, what a pleasure, even if it doesn't feel like a pleasure, even though if in your head you're like, this is the opposite of a pleasure. There is nothing pleasurable about this. You pause and you say, what a pleasure. And then you ask one singular question. Why is this in my movie? And then you've got to get really honest with yourself. So the answer might be like, I have problems with interpersonal relationships. I struggle to commit, right? I have fear about money running out. But the answer to that question is going to tell you the piece of healing that you need to do and the piece of work that you need to do.
Great. That is really exciting and such valuable information for the listeners. When we're talking about integrating all of this for someone who owns a business, so it could be someone who has a career and they're looking to climb the corporate ladder. But I would say the number one thing that anyone that I've come across seems to struggle in business, and I mean, even retirement books I read, tax books I read, everything for a small business owner, investments, all of it come down to generating more income, which is the growth of the business. And you had talked about going from making $600 a month to making your first $1 million. What type of integrative work, like what type of healing and internal work, when you noticed and identified the first thing, do you just attack that and really start working on yourself in that area? Is someone able to do that while they're growing their business, and do that work so that they see kind of that lift off of that heavy burden that they didn't realize they were carrying around? Because I do believe that many of us are walking around with these burdens that we don't realize we're carrying. When I do my healing journeys and go through my work, usually I will ache in a specific part of my body, which is the area that I've been harboring the pain or the trauma, until that releases. Because we're all energy, right? The energy is moving through our bodies. So I think I really do think it's never too late for anyone, because I also believe that all of the trauma, and if we don't do the healing, we cause dis-ease to our body, and that dis-ease in our body causes disease, which can show up in many different forms as we get older.
Yeah, and it creates dis-ease in your business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every business is a mirror image to the founder. Like if you look at your business, really honestly, you're going to see all of your stuff. And it's really uncomfortable. So the question is, the question that you just asked was, can we do the work whilst growing the business? My whole framework for business development and inner work is that we always do both, because, I've been in a lot of rooms with, I was in a room about a year and a couple of months ago, and the man stood on stage giving a talk. It was an invite only event for entrepreneurs and business owners. And he had created, I think, $4 billion businesses in his lifetime. He was like very, renowned. And he got on that stage and he said, don't do it. It's not worth it. And that was really an awakening for me, that people think that the income is the goal. And then a lot of people get to 1 million, 10 million, 1 billion. And if they've not done the inner work, they realize that the income goal hasn't actually changed them. So when you use the business, when you use the business to heal you, right, not only are you hitting the financial goals, right, but you're creating more inner space, you're creating more fulfillment, you're creating more joy. Because I don't just want to be wealthy in my bank account, I want to be wealthy in my relationships, I want to be wealthy in my health, I want to be wealthy in how I feel about life and my spirituality. And so for me, it's kind of like this pendulum, right? I do the practical business work, I see what's reflected to me, I own that, I take responsibility for it, I go. And so it's this continual like knitting together. The system, the framework that I use within, we teach multidimensional business. And so there's a greater conversation here, but I say business is 25% strategy and frameworks and knowing how to scale, knowing how to, know how to convert sales. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, it's just energy, because it's not. Like, there are practical things that you need to do, right? Yeah. That's 25%. We can't just meditate in a room and like, the business is coming together. Right. It's not going to happen, okay? No. So 25% of the practical, then you've got another 25% on top of that. And that's the emotional and mental work that is involved in business. So that's the mindset around wealth. The mindset, it can be simple things. If you walk into a room of multimillionaires, do you have the self-image to think that, you are important and you can hold those conversations, right? Do you see yourself in that light? That's emotional mental work. Emotional mental work is also our trauma. I was bullied in primary school, right? So I've had to overcome shyness. I'm on TV, and so people say to me, like, how do you go from like bullied and shy in school, didn't want to say, peep, to being on weekly TV in Spain? And I say a lot of work, like a lot of taking responsibility. So that's the emotional mental body, right? Then you've got the spiritual body of business, which is understanding that business isn't just about milestones. It's about understanding that it's your own human journey of evolution, your own spiritual journey of evolution. Because a lot of business owners, the reason that they block themselves in their creativity is that they're gripping so hard in fear. If this doesn't work, they're looking at the numbers. They're like, and you're tapped off from, you're not connected to God. You're not connected to your creativity, your inspiration when you're in that space. So this is a journey. Everything either works or I learn something. I'm safe. I'm good. I'm in it for the long run. You're going to have a lot more fun. And then you've got the final body, which is the final 25%, which is understanding energetics. Okay, this is the framework that I teach. And energetics is understanding that everything is energy. And we don't just create through physical action. We create through energy, right? And so learning how to master energy, you asked me, how did I go from 400 euros a month actually to my first million? I got to my first, probably, we had our first 250,000 launch, and I knew very little about strategy, but I was very, very much in the energetics, in the creating.
Yeah.
And when an idea would come, I would just do it, even if it felt ludicrous. Do you know what I mean? Even if I was like, this is the most terrifying thing, this is the bottom of my list, I do not want to do this, but I would still do it. And then after that, scaling higher required a lot more strategy. A 6-figure business looks very different to a 7-figure business, doesn't it? So yeah, this is the framework that I teach my clients, using all 4 planes at the same time, and it takes time, right? Means that business can go from being something quite scary and like, oh, how does this all work together, to feel quite, what I love about the inner work, I don't feel ever really in my life, why is this happening? Because I don't feel like I hate this. I'm like, not a massive fan of this, but like I get the greater purpose. So, let's do it. And this makes a lot of difference in business, because I get less caught up, not 100% of the time, in the roller coaster that a lot of people get caught up in business,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say probably a good 80% of them are stuck, if not more, in that roller coaster, unless they're willing to do the work. They're going to be stuck in that roller coaster in their relationships. They're going to be stuck in that roller coaster in their career, like everything in their life. They're going to be stuck in that roller coaster. I can't impress enough after today's conversation how important it is for everyone to pause and do the work and look at, I love what you said, like, look at your business. It's a mirror of who you are. And I've always said, if you want to know what's happening and you want to know what's wrong, just go stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself, right? We're the ones. Everything in our life is a reflection of who we are. Everything that we have in our life is a reflection. The things we do are a reflection of who we are, our past, what we've healed, what we haven't healed. And it's become very fascinating to me, Jana, actually. And I've gotten very involved in it with my own life and started doing the work and have started reaping the rewards of better relationships with my children. Something as simple as that. You thought you had a great relationship, but then it gets deeper and even better, and you feel like you are on a different level with the relationship. So yes, definitely this is something everyone needs to do in their lifetime. So tell me, Jana, how do they connect with you? Where do you want them to go? I know I started following you on Instagram, and that was where I saw that you were on TV every week in Spain, because that information was on there. I hadn't had that information before I went and started following you on Instagram. So I definitely feel like they need to do that. But where's a great place for them to learn about the School of Integrative Healing for someone listening that says, I need to do the work, but I don't really know who to work with or where to start?
So my Instagram, quickly, even though my name is said Jana, so you guys do find me, I'm Spanish and my parents made up my name. So instead of it being spelled like you'd expect Hannah to be, it's spelled with Jana. Okay. You guys are going to remember that, because I'm the only Jana Hannah that you guys know, it's caused no end of complications in my life explaining this every time I meet someone new, right. But it's Jana, spelled Jana, Bartlett, Alonso. I've got a free course on our framework for multidimensional business. So if you follow me on Instagram and you just message me in my DMs saying podcast, I will know that you want the link for the free course. That's a really great place to start, so you can really understand our framework better. And actually, I'm going to invite you to drop me a message if you feel in resonance with what I've shared and you want to work on something. We've got such a huge library within the school that if I listed everything that I did, you would all be very bored. Okay. So the best thing is that you tell me what you want and what you need and what you're looking for. And if that's something that I can help with, I'll direct you in the right place. Instagram is the best place to message me. It will most likely be me. If it's not me, it's my team.
That's perfect. Great. It's good to know that. You can also find her at the schoolofintegrativehealing.com if you're someone that likes to go to web pages. But I definitely feel like getting straight into sliding into your DMs on Instagram is one of the best ways to connect with her. So please, everyone, just remember this today after Jana shared all this information, that you're the only you that's ever been. I mean, that is pretty heavy when you think about it. You're the only you. And I think we started off the conversation saying we're here to work on all of this. That's why our purpose of being here. So if you're the only you that's ever been and you're the only you that's ever going to be, I guess we just need to ask the question, when? When are you going to do it? Are you going to hold off and life becomes a lot tougher and things aren't as balanced as they could be and you can't figure out why? Well, this is a really great start. I 100% agree with Jana on the work that we need to do for ourselves, inside of ourselves, to understand ourselves better. And if you want to live, like she said, an extraordinary life and really be able to make things easier for you, we've got to do the work. We have to do the work. So Jana, it was really great having you here today. Really, really, really wonderful. And I'm excited for our listeners to be able to take advantage of a free course with you, to be able to connect with you, to get into your community and your circle to learn more about how they can heal themselves and really have this transformative personal and professional growth. I think that's important for both of us. We think, oh, it's just the business or something I don't know. There's just the business. I've got to hire someone else to tell me something I don't know. Really what it comes down to is the personal work that we need to do for ourselves, is what I heard you say from the beginning to the end of the show. So Jana, thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone, until next time, don't forget, be you and be strong. Until then, bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.